Hello and welcome to the channel. Let's say you have values that were calculated using a formula, and you want to copy and paste those values somewhere else, either on this spreadsheet or another one. If you're like me, you like to use hotkeys like Control-C and Control-V. However, the simple hotkey will actually paste the formula, not the value you see. This can be useful sometimes, but in this particular case, it's not what you want. I'll demonstrate that here. Let's say you're trying to come up with a budget and you know how many of each item you want to buy, and you want to calculate the unit price times the quantity. If we try to copy and paste this $1.38 down here, it errors out. That's because this $1.38 up above was calculated using the two cells to the left. And when we pasted it, it pasted the formula, and it's also trying to use the two cells to the left. However, we don't want this cell to calculate anything, and if it's trying to calculate a non-numeric value, it actually errors out. Normally the way around this would be to copy and paste values, but it's a few extra mouse clicks, and if you're doing this all day, it gets old after a while. I'll demonstrate that here. We can actually create a new hotkey that does the same thing as pasting, except it pastes values, not the formula. We'll do that by recording a macro and assigning it a keyboard shortcut. Normally you would record a macro from the Developer tab, and you would get to that from the top ribbon. However, if you've never used the Developer tab, you won't see it up here. That's because Microsoft has this turned off by default. We can get around this by going to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and on the right-hand side here, where you see all these boxes with check marks, you'll see the Developer tab, and it's not checked. Just check that box and click OK, and now you'll see the Developer tab up at the top. So we're going to click on Record Macro, and I have the Visual Basic Editor open so we can see it record in real time. So we'll name this Paste Values, and there's an option to assign a shortcut key. We'll assign it Control-D. You have to be careful here, because if you assign it a shortcut key that already exists, such as Control-C, it'll start doing that instead of what the shortcut key originally did. You can also pick where to store this. If you only store it in this workbook, it'll only work when you have this workbook open. But if you want it to work whenever you have any Excel file open, you would select Personal Macro Workbook. So we're going to select this workbook for right now. And you can see that over here on the left, it's ready to start recording. So if I click on anything, you'll see that the code changes. But we're going to copy this value, and we're going to go down here and paste values. One thing to remember about the macro recorder is it will record a lot of extra code you don't need, and in this case, even some code that will prevent the paste values shortcut from working flexibly. You want this to be able to work no matter what. But you can see here that it will always try to paste it in cell C11. So we're going to remove that. You don't want it to say range D to select, because that was when we were just experimenting with it. So we'll delete that. We don't need these comments, and we'll delete that. We don't need it to copy anything, because we can still do that with the Control-C hotkey. And here you'll see some extra values. These are defaults, and you don't really need to do that, so we'll delete all that. And we don't want it to select cell D7 at the end, so we'll delete that. So what we're left with is just with the cell that's selected, it's going to paste special and paste values. And that's all the code we need for this. And it'll work whenever we press Control-D instead of Control-V. So let's demonstrate that with the price of the apple. We'll copy it. And you can't see my keyboard, but I am going to press Control-D, and it pasted the value. Let's clean that up a little bit. There. And now we can resume working on our budget. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll leave a link to the code in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.